Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm currently in the middle of way too many books. So the goal for this video is going to be getting through as many of those books as possible. So I'm going to take you throughout my week and let's see how much we can read. Currently the next day. I probably read around 40-ish pages of Wind and Truth yesterday. I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on this book so far since I'm 200 pages in. I love Brandon Sanderson. Love this series so much, I can't even describe it. Like, if you have not read Way of Kings, you just need to. Like, it's a fantasy that has set the tone for how I read fantasy for the rest of my life. Nothing compares, and I'm always like searching for the feeling that Brandon Sanderson gives me, and not many people can do it. If you don't know the premise of Way of Kings, hello, quick interruption because I realized I completely butchered my explanation of Way of Kings and it was painful. So I'm gonna retry. In this universe, there is a huge war that's been happening for hundreds of years. One of our characters, Kaladin, fights in this war as a soldier. Our next character, Shallan, arguably Shallan, I say Shallan, but you know, I think I'm wrong. Goes and travels outside of her kingdom because she's studying, and the girl that she's studying under is Jasnah, and she teaches her about something called Fabrials, which is like their magic system. But Shallan is actually acting as a spy, and she's trying to steal something from Jasnah. So we follow those two, and then we also follow the king of the kingdom that's in the war, and his name is Dalinar. The magic system is based around something called Stormlight. It's basically this power that gets trapped within gems that people can absorb and then use in different ways. Everybody uses Stormlight in different ways. There's like different orders of people, but I really can't say too much about the magic because it evolves so much within the book, but you're learning it with characters who are using it for the first time, so it really is at a digestible pace. Hopefully that explanation is a little bit smoother. Where we are now in this book is like light years from where we started. Like, sometimes I think back to the beginning of Way of Kings and I'm like, how did we get here? Like, this is insane, and the amount of detail that Brandon Sanderson puts in his books is just, it's insane. I'm just in love with the way that he writes. It's so incredible. That's me done geeking about Brandon Sanderson. All that to say is that I'm really enjoying the book so far, obviously. And I think the reason I've been procrastinating it for a really long time was because I'm just like nervous what's gonna happen at the end of this. It's the last book in the first 5, which then is gonna break off into like years later when he does the next 5. And I'm just feeling scared for the characters, honestly. I'm feeling like something big has to happen. And I'm just done procrastinating. I'm just at a point with like the books I've been reading recently that haven't been hitting, and I'm like, I'm avoiding the one thing that I know for a fact will hit. Why am I doing that? New day, same hat. I'm probably, oh, is the AC loud? Well, apparently I'm just willing to die for you. It is the next day and I'm about to go to like a coffee shop probably. I haven't really decided where exactly I'm going, but I just want to kind of do a little bit of work and kind of be productive. So that's what we're doing. And I brought a book with me because if you're wondering how many pages I read yesterday, probably 20. Probably 20. Sorry, we're starting off bad. Anyways, let's go to a coffee shop and get an energy drink. Let's go be productive. I'm in my bed now because I just ate my ice cream and now I'm super cold. So we're gonna lay in bed and we're gonna read Agatha Christie. I just went pee and I literally had like the thought when I was peeing of like, oh, I have to pee now because I just had a bunch of ice cream. What like divides like what we pee or what we poop? Do you pee ice cream? Is ice cream a solid? But like when I was eating it, it got really soupy towards the end. Pee ice cream. Do you pee juice? God, people do not pee juice. I've never had this thought in my life. Pee or urine is primarily composed of water. The liquid that exits the body through urination is not the same as the original beverage. Well, okay, well, I'm not saying am I peeing orange juice. However, the final product is not the same as the original juice. Oh, but we know that. I don't know. There's plenty of stupid questions when it comes to me. Anyways, I'm gonna read Agatha Christie. Wait, are there... Right now, I'm on page 160 of this, and there are like 245 pages. That's 85 pages, and I think that I could get through a good chunk of that. But the danger of laying in a bed, we all know, is sleeping. Anyways, I'm gonna read now. Okay, I promise. Later in the night, I'm talking quietly because it's really late, but it is the end of the night and AC is loud, so sorry if you can hear that. But today, as I've mentioned, is the 4th of July, and this is how our night looked. My dog is terrified of fireworks, so it was really sad. And my husband is still in the closet with her. All that being said, we spent a lot of time in the closet. Because we were stuck in there, I did read a ton of this and I've got one chapter left. So I just wanted to update you that I'm gonna finish this and maybe continue reading, I don't know, a book. I'll give you my full thoughts in the morning because I'm gonna go lay in a closet all night. Okay, bye. It's the next day. If you can't tell by my voice and the state of my face, I'm having a bit of an allergic reaction to my dog who I am dog sitting. This is her. It's her 4th of July tail. Usually when I watch her, I just try to keep a distance in terms of like being in open spaces or being outside or not like touching her as much, and like making sure that when I touch her, I'm not like kissing her, and I wash my hands a lot. And we like lay blankets down on her bed to make sure that, you know, as much as possible, I don't have an allergic reaction. But last night, I said a little bit about how the fireworks were like from our apartment. We just have a lot of windows and the fireworks were just so loud. And so we laid in the closet with her and she was like shaking so much that like I was literally all over her for like hours, and I was just, you know, I knew what today was gonna look like, and it's fine. But I'm just kind of, that's why I am looking and sounding like this. But all that to say, I did finish this book last night. I didn't really say much about what this book is about, and mostly because Agatha Christie, to me, sometimes I feel like there are unique settings for her stories. Like I've read ones that were on a plane, for example, like Murder on the Orient, it's on a train, or Death on the Nile is on a boat, like in Egypt. But this one is just like a very basic British like castle whodunit mystery. Nothing too like unique per se, because she obviously had to start getting more unique as she wrote so many more. My overall thoughts on this book is that I always love Agatha Christie. I think that it's fascinating. These books are usually like over 200 pages a little bit, and every single sentence like could be important. She has like a ton of red herrings, and the reason why that is so that you don't know what the answer is. Out of any of the books that I've read from her, I think I've like nailed down one section of a mystery for like Death in the Nile, and that was like the only time that I was able to get something. But all that to say, like, I think the reason that she does that is because Hercule Poirot is supposed to be like extremely smart and observant, and most of the time that you're reading the book, he already knows things, but he's not gonna like tell you what he's figured out. And so sometimes he'll be like, I'm like missing one piece, and you're like, I don't even know one piece of this, like you're missing one, I've got zero. And I enjoyed it a lot.
I do think this one had like maybe the least bit of evidence pointing to what the answer was, and I feel like other books that I've read of hers like have a lot more information, and this one was very interesting. I could tell how different it was from her other prose because it took place a lot in like the British like court, which was really interesting because I've not really read one that's happened in. But I can definitely tell like where her evolution through these has begun. I've been collecting her pro books, and I started by reading just the ones that I wanted to read, so they were like 17 or 15, but I decided that I wanted to start at 1, which is why I read this. So I'm assuming that they're gonna get better as I go. Obviously, like Murder on the Orient, Death on the Nile are so far into that series, so I know they get better, but it was very fun to read the first one. Anyways, what I'm doing now is I'm about to clock in for work and work for a few hours. So because I'm gonna clock in for a few hours for work, I'm gonna audiobook. The one I'm gonna listen to right now is Dead of Winter because I'm currently 80% through this book, and my other audiobook I'm not that far, so I feel like I can just finish this right now. I listened to this one on 2x speed. I'll get this one done in like an hour, and then I will start listening to The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. I'll give you my thoughts once I'm done with Dead of Winter. But today I really just want to have a productive home day, so I'm going to be doing a lot of work, and then I want to do a lot of cleaning and audiobooking, and then we'll chill for the rest of the night and read a physical book. So I'm excited for today. I feel like after last night, I'm like, I literally just want to do nothing. Like, I do not have the energy. So thank you for excusing my appearance, and I'm gonna start working now. Okay, bye. I officially clocked out of work. We're gonna start cleaning, and I have a little bit of a reading update for you. Did finish Dead of Winter. My like final thoughts on it, I liked it. I did guess the ending, unfortunately, which sometimes is fun if it's like well done enough that I feel proud of myself, but it kind of didn't feel that well done in my opinion. But I don't know if I talked about the premise of this really. It kind of feels like a slasher book a little bit because it's about this bus that's going to a lodge in the middle of like the winter forest, and the bus breaks down, and then slowly people start dying. They find refuge in like a really small like cabin, and basically everybody there is trying to figure out why they're there and why people are getting murdered and who's murdering them, but they have like no cell service. They're truly like in the middle of nowhere, and so you're just trying to figure out what's happening. But my main problem with thrillers these days is that it's so focused on the genre itself that it doesn't do any like character work. You don't really care for the people. Like, I've just gotten to a point with thrillers where like I don't care if somebody dies. I feel like that is a major flaw of the genre right now. It was good enough, so I enjoyed the audiobook for sure. It's like when I'm working or when I'm doing things at home, I don't want something I have to think really hard about, so it's nice that it was fairly simple. Now my plan is to clean, so I'm going to put on, my plan now is that I'm going to clean and just kind of get things done around the house. So I'm going to listen to The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. I'm currently 52% of the way through the book, just to give like a little bit of background on what this is about. I don't even know if there's like truly like a plot. There's just, you're following like dual timeline of these kids in a high school and about how like weird murder things that happened at that time, and then you flip forward to like present day, and the main girl character's best friend was killed, and they're trying to figure out like who did it, and you're just introduced to a lot of people that they're dating or people that they meet, and you're just kind of trying to piece together like who is who, maybe in the past timeline, because it's not extremely clear all the time. Like, there's some overlap that we can see, but I'm assuming that's where a lot of the plot twist might come from, is just like who people are in the present timeline. But I mean, just with like any Freida McFadden, I don't have like high expectations. I just want to be entertained, and they're really nice like cleaning books for me because I don't have to think that hard. I literally have them on 2x speed, and I know when I'm in the mood for them, you know what I'm saying? So we've officially finished 2 books, and hopefully we can finish another one today.
just spent the last 4 or 5 hours deep cleaning my home. I can't explain how good it feels. I cleaned my porch. I cleaned everything that could possibly go in the laundry. I even cleaned my shower curtains. Like, everything is so clean. I also finished The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. My main thoughts on that are that I kind of a little bit guessed what was going to happen, but even when it happened, I wasn't like super shocked. I didn't try that hard to figure it out, but that's not really why I read her stuff. It's like for a plot twist, because, you know, there's only so many characters in their books. That's like, well, I knew it was one of them. You know, like I knew somebody was off. I definitely would recommend that one more than I would recommend some of her other ones. And then I also finished The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I audioed the rest of this because I was kind of getting a little bit bored, to be honest. And it was really good audioing the last bit because it kind of had like a little like twist ending that if you've read it, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Literally like, what book am I listening to, because it was so different. But I really enjoyed audioing. I actually finished 4 books. The books that I'm deciding between to pick up are Funny Story and One Golden Summer. I really don't know which one I want to read. Technically, I'm farther through Funny Story, so I'm kind of leaning towards that so that we can finish this book tomorrow. But I'm just kind of disappointed by how much I'm not like really like falling into the story, and I wish I had something like that. But also the point of this video is to just force myself to read those books, because most of the books I'm forcing myself to read, like, I'm not even hating them, I'm just like not falling into them. I'll update you once I've taken my everything shower, and then we'll pick a book to read and settle in for the night. Go to bed, but we're gonna read Funny Story. That's what I decided on. It is the next day. I read a lot of Funny Story last night. I got up to around page 200, and then I've been reading all morning, and my goal is to get to page 300. I'm currently at 250 because I just want to finish this book today. So I'm thinking I read 100 pages in the morning, 100 pages at night, and then I'll finish the book. Hopefully we can get 5 books done in this video. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit, is reaching page 300. So I'm just going to sit here in my cozy little nook with my Coke, and we're gonna read. Wanted to give a quick update on Funny Story. I wanted to give my full thoughts on the Bodyguard. I didn't have my full thoughts together, but I do now. To give a little background, the premise of it is basically the bodyguard from the title is a woman, and she works for a company where they basically are like personal security for people. And then they get a job that's for a man called Jack Stapleton, and he's a celebrity. He's like a big actor. I would compare him to like Zac Efron because he's got a few like stalkers, I guess, on the internet, and so his threat level is very low. So the way that they manage that is that she just like stays with them and makes sure that everything looks good. Eventually there's like pictures that are taken of them that start the rumor that they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and from there we just watch them just be alone. It has like his family's ranch that he's at, and it's very cute. It's a very cute setting. I really liked it at first. I remember writing in my notes that I wasn't feeling their tension, and I was really hoping that that would shift for me, because if it didn't, then it wouldn't be a great book to me. But there was like a few scenes where the tension really shifted for me, and I was like, okay, I'm liking them. But I do feel like I kind of went away, like it kind of fizzled out for me, which is why I wanted to audio the rest of it, because I could see that there was like 40 pages left. I didn't feel like stopping everything that I was doing to read it, and I just wanted to have it on the background, which is really nice because the ending definitely had like a tone shift, which I do think was better in an audio form for me personally, because it kind of steered away from a romance for a second. And so my overall thoughts are that
I enjoyed it. It isn't something that I would necessarily go out of my way to recommend strongly, but if you like Catherine Center or you like romances in general and you want to try Catherine Center, I would definitely recommend that. But I am curious to read her other books because I've heard good things about other ones more than this one, and this is just where I started. So it's not turning me off from her as an author, it's just not my favorite book ever. So those are my thoughts on The Bodyguard. But now on to a funny story. I'm kind of having similar feelings about this book, where in the beginning I was not feeling any romantic tension, and not for the reasons that people are saying on the internet that I can see. Like, they're saying that, I don't know, he's kind of like a bum, like all he does is like smoke weed, and it's like not attractive to like watch somebody like moping from a breakup around his apartment, which I will explain the synopsis in a second. But that's not the reason I wasn't necessarily feeling the tension. The reason I wasn't feeling it was because I don't think that there were very many scenes that built the tension, honestly. But that definitely did change, because probably when I started reading last night, we finally got like a good tension-filled scene, and immediately my feelings switched. I was like, okay, she's done something right to build this up, because you wouldn't feel this in this scene if you didn't feel something for the tension of the characters. What I love in a romance, and what makes me sometimes scared to keep going, is that I love when they are so not romantic in the beginning. And the reason for that is because once you get those romantic scenes, it really feels like this like big moment, instead of like, yeah, we saw, like, they've already said so much, like, of course this is gonna happen. But I love when things come out of nowhere. Because of that, a lot of the times I'm reading books like that, in the beginning I'll feel like, what is happening? Like, I'm not feeling anything for these people. And that's why I'm very aware that I need that shift to happen, and it definitely happened in here. I will say I'm not as interested in the subplots of this book. Just to give a brief synopsis, we have our main characters, Daphne and Miles, and both of their partners leave them. Daphne and her ex-boyfriend Peter were supposed to get married, and he left her for Miles's girlfriend, who they had history together. So both of them are extremely betrayed, and Peter and Petra literally like leave, and they're off on their own, and they're very serious very fast, leaving Daphne without a home because she was living with Peter. Peter kicks Daphne out of their home to move Petra in. Because Daphne doesn't have a home and Miles is left with Elise that has a second bedroom, he lets Daphne stay with him. We've got the tension of them being roommates. I will say that plot has so much potential, and I didn't think it was amazingly done in the beginning. I feel like the biggest critique I would have is that you have so much potential for the setting that they're in. Like, for example, you could do scenes of them bumping into each other, which they do have those, but they're not fully fleshed scenes. They're like little moments, or she'll mention that they cook dinner and then they watch movies and all these things. But it's like, I would rather you not explain any of those hundreds of little moments and just give me like 5 big scenes. That's what we love in TV shows. Like, nobody looks at a book or like a TV show or a movie and thinks, I love that like montage that they did. Like, nobody thinks that, because those don't really give us those strong feelings. It's just for the sake of showing time elapsing. But I really like in books when I would much rather in a book they just give us big scenes, and I feel like that's something that was a little bit lacking for me, especially in the beginning. She was giving us so much information and not like zooming in for a second to just be like, here's this 10-page scene of a very small moment, but because they're close proximity it happened. And I think that would have made me love them a lot more, a lot sooner. Now I do feel like we're getting more of those scenes, but I'm feeling like the subplots are just kind of boring, honestly. Both of the subplots kind of have to do with like toxic families, and personally I don't love those subplots because like some things just hit too close to home. I'm like, Kate, I don't want to have to think about things like that while I'm reading a romance book. I feel like it's all I read now. I don't know, I'm just kind of feeling a little over that. I'm like, can we stop writing that? But I can look past it because that's just like a personal thing. I'm feeling like I'm loving the progression of the romance, not loving the in-between scenes as much. That's just like an Emily Henry thing though. Like, she does a lot of subplot things, and like, for example, in Book Lovers, I loved it. Beach Read, loved it. And so I do know that this is like her thing, but I'm also like, okay, give us more of the romance. Like, I'm wanting the romance more.
But yeah, those are my general thoughts right now. I wanted to say that before I finished like the last 140 pages. A lot is probably gonna happen in these last bits, but I'll update you then. I've officially finished Funny Story. I wanted to give my final thoughts on this. My feelings definitely haven't really changed since the last time I talked about them. I was kind of feeling like I wasn't loving the subplots, and I stand by that. I feel like that's my main takeaway from this, was that the romance could have really had so much more depth if we didn't have so much of the subplot. That's just my personal feelings on subplots. I feel like sometimes they can take away from the romance for me personally, but if you love a good subplot, this is a great book for you. I think how I would rank it within the Emily Henry universe would probably be first, Beach Read, second, Book Lovers, third, Funny Story, fourth, Happy Place, fifth, People We Meet on Vacation. That's what I stand on. I still haven't read Great BBL, so hopefully I will read that soon. I'm a paperback girly though. I might wait for it to come out in paperback. I'm kind of insane and I will genuinely wait a year for it to come out in paperback, which is why I'm reading this now. And that officially wraps up today's video. We read a total of 5 books, 3 physical, 2 audio, and we read like 100-ish pages of Wind and Truth, which sometime I will get through that, probably on the very last part of this series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in part 2.